It's 2:45 on a Halloween afternoon. Look at that atmosphere. We got nice clouds. We got chilly weather. It's in the 40s, which is awesome. Leaves all changed. We got some little wind there. There'll be a little rain coming, but hope it won't be too much. It's all right. Can't complain too much. Just wanted to talk a little more about tonight's featured presentation for Horror Fest 2023, 19 Nights to Rock, night 19, the Slumber Party Massacre, 1982. Michelle Michaels, I believe, is the name of the main actress here. Now, this is mainly a girl kind of focused movie, like, because it's a slumber party with girls. Michelle Michaels, let me say something about her. Before the slumber party and her parents are out of town, the scene where she plays the piano downstairs, that piano riff that she does, I like that piano riff better than the Halloween, the much talked about Halloween theme music. How about that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I also like the so a couple of things. The guys, like, so there's these two guys in the film. One is played by Joe Johnson. The other is played by a guy named, I know his last name is Milburn. These guys aren't like your typical teenage guys in slasher movies from the early 80s. They're a little more sympathetic. Now, I know they do peek in on the girls at first while they're changing clothes and and they drink some and stuff like that. So they have those stereotypical attributes. However, they are, like, once the murders start and they are trying to figure out a plan together on how to get the killer and save the girls. I think it's kind of pretty unique the way they do that and the way they're self-sacrificial in that regard. So I like those guys. Now, the one couple, John Miner is the character played by Jim Boyce. This is like the other guys, and Jim Boyce was not in any other movies besides the Slumber Party Massacre. And then the girl's name, his girlfriend, I don't know her name or the actress's name, but I don't know off the top of my head. But those two are like very, like, you don't care if they get killed. You don't care about them because, like, they're just typical horn dogs. They kind of remind you of the couple in Friday the 13th Part 2 that they get caught, like, sneaking around Camp Crystal Lake. So those two, like, you don't care when they die, but when those two guys die, like, one of those, the two main guys played by Joe Johnson and Milburn, when those two guys get offed, especially the guy who gets stabbed to death, that is a brutal death scene. Stabbed in the chest. They show some of it. And it also makes it pretty effective because you kind of care about those guys, and you kind of care about both of them. So another guy I like in this film is played by Rig Kennedy, the next door neighbor. The guy's name is Mr. Contact, I think is the name. I have to look up exactly what it is, but I love Mr. Contact. He's the kind of semi-creepy single guy who lives next door to the girl whose parents are out of town. Like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on her, make sure she's all right. I like that guy, and he does kind of play kind of, the cool. He's just to check up on her, but he does, and he catches her and her friends, like, with a bag of weed, but he's like, I'm not going to say anything. So you know he just kind of play like I'm gonna be cool with the kids kind of guy, but I just think he's kind of likable too, and I can relate to him. Queepy. So when he dies, he's a good red herring too. He plays a pretty solid red herring. When he dies, I'm disappointed. I'm always disappointed. I wanted him to make it through the film, and I think him being a good red herring would have been good to keep him around. The pizza guy is played by, I don't know, but he's in a couple other movies. I'll have his name listed at the end of the credits. The pizza guy, he's the one who's just killed. They open the door and he's dead. The main killer has killed him, and they push his corpse into the house. And then what's her name? One of the girls, the black one, played by I think her name is Andre is like the last name, and she's like, look, you know, I'm hungry. She's eating the pizza like over the guys, like with the box on top of the corpse. Crazy. So this movie, it's like sunny at the beginning of the film, but the rest of it has great fall atmosphere. I think it could have been set on Halloween night. Would have been perfect. But the scene with Valerie in her house watching a movie, and I still don't know what movie she's watching. I'm sure someone on the internet has posted that somewhere, but and she's kind of babysitting her little sister. One of the good guys is trying to run to her house, I guess, to warn her. Kind of forget, but he gets killed before he gets to her door. That scene is like directly ripping off Halloween. So this movie really is a Halloween ripoff. It's my favorite Halloween ripoff. The other like wild card Halloween ripoff that I was considering watching for Horror Fest was He Knows You're Alone from 1980. That's more about a bride, and I've seen it I think twice for Horror Fest, but decided not to go with it this year. So Slumber Party Massacre, special place in my heart because it was the first movie I rented from the video store. I did a double feature with that one and I think April Fool's Day, and watched them back to back, the VHSs. The video store. There are two sequels to this movie. I think one is 1987 Slumber Party Massacre 2. The only thing I know is that it's got Crystal Bernard from Wings in it. And then part 3, I'm pretty sure, has a Friday the 13th alumni in there somewhere. A girl, and I think they're kind of mostly comedy, so I just don't really care. But maybe one of these days, if I can find it, I'll watch it. They're rare, so they're hard to find. Uploads on the internet, and they're really hard to find on VHS DVD. I'm sure there's like a DVD release of this somewhere where there's part 2 and 3 together on the same, but I just don't care enough to see it. This is a great one for to close out Horror Fest tonight, the final night of Horror Fest. Or is it? There's a couple of films. This will be like I say that like at the end of Bog and the end of pretty much every movie from that time, like even The Blob back, like maybe there's a sequel to this, The Intruder Within. Now, why haven't I watched The Intruder Within for Horror Fest? That's a movie I see usually. It takes place in the Arctic, so that's why I usually watch it in like January. But you could still watch it in Horror Fest too. I've just never done it. It's one of my favorite horror movies. A great alien ripoff. It's time for pizza. We're gonna do so. I'm telling you guys, the Tony's. I wanted to go there, but Tony's is temporarily closed or something's going on there. And then Andy said go to Mary Angela's. They're closed for the day. What a bunch of garbage. Closed, and we're going to reopen tomorrow. So going to Giovanni's, and I hope this is a nice cheap looking pizza. Gonna do it right. Gonna do it like the girls ordered in Slumber Party Massacre. Michelle Michaels herself, while she's in the kitchen, says, mushrooms and olives, no anchovies. That's what we're going to do. I'll film it later. Going to do Giovanni's, first time ever. Alright, so there are a couple of films if you want to extend Horror Fest to November the 1st. One of them is Halloween 2, which takes place into the early morning hours of November 1st. The other one is last year's night 1 feature of Horror Fest, The Gates of Hell, or also known as City of the Walking Dead, I think, was the alternate title. It takes place November 1st. Depends on the mood of tomorrow. Usually I'm burned out and just done with horror once November 1st hits. It's like, no. But you never know. It could still have that, get that one more bonus one in. So, all right, this concludes Horror Fest 2023. We think. Time to get some pizza.